Yeah, this is what happens when I spend too long in the makeup room. It's spooky freaking season, so let's transform into Pennywise. All the products and materials I use are listed in the description below. Now, let's float. Starting off with popping some bright yellow contact lenses in. You can get these through my affiliate code if you're interested. I'll link it in the description below. Oh, I lost an eyebrow hair. That's just an everyday occurrence, no biggie. As always, I glue my brows down, and I got a few questions on TikTok as to why I glue them down, especially for this look, and it's just simply so I don't pull out more of my brow hairs when removing the special effects makeup. And then I'm just brushing my brows upwards to lay them flat, and then adding a few more layers of the glue, and then cleaning up some of the glue around the brows with a makeup wipe. I'm convinced this glue makes my brow hairs grow like crazy though. Using translucent powder and a powder puff, I'm pressing down firmly but lightly over the glue and coating my brows in a few layers with the powder, brushing the excess off, and we're ready for this mission. I cannot believe the result, the final result of this look. I'm so happy with how it turned out. Using styling mousse to tame any flyaways. Why do I look like Gollum with my hair slicked back like that? Should I transform into Gollum? As you can see, I haven't pinned my hair flat down onto my head to prepare for applying a bald cap, but I'm just at home doing a transformation. So if you were to go out in this makeup for Halloween, I recommend pinning your hair down before applying a bald cap. So yeah, if you have long hair like me, I recommend that. There are so many tutorials on YouTube for this. So here I've popped on a wig cap and I'm making sure that my ears are sticking outside of the cap because next I'll be pulling my ears through the latex bald cap. And as you can see, it's so important to put the flyaways away because they love to stick out and it's super annoying. So yeah, wow, I look like Gollum. My precious. Anyways, back to our regular programming. This part is pretty important, stuffing the wig cap with, I don't even know what to call it, stuffing. This is just from a Halloween decoration. I guess it's just cotton wool, but I'm looking at a reference photo of Pennywise and the shape of the top of his head is wider, especially on the sides of the head, so make sure to put more stuffing there. It helps to look at a reference photo of him. It's time for the bald cap application. Now before anything, because we've extended the forehead, well, the illusion of it, make sure you get a large sized bald cap because the worst thing is when a bald cap is too small, especially for a look like this. Just to be safe, get the large bald cap. Taking some spirit gum, I'm brushing that directly onto my skin and then pressing the bald cap down to stick. Now I didn't even skin prep before this, so normally you'd wipe your face with like an isopropyl alcohol wipe to get rid of any oils before applying the cap. Please do that, but just being real here, I forgot to do that. But I didn't even have a problem, so yeah. If you don't have spirit gum on hand but you have prosaide, that's another great option as well, so just use that. I got the spirit gum for like $4 at choice discount and it actually did a great job. So just take your time with this process. Remember, the bald cap is everything in this look. I recommend not to rush this part. You want the head to look good. Using medical scissors, I'm making a small incision where my ears are, making a small hole and ripping the cap carefully. You want to cut the hole a reasonable size so that your ears can be pulled through. Don't cut the hole too big, just cut it enough so that your ears can fit through. If you cut the hole too big, you may risk the bald cap splitting and totally destroying it, so take your time with this part of the look too. I look like Megamind mixed with Pennywise, mixed with the movie Coneheads, so many options. Now to secure the bald cap, I'm using liquid latex on a little sponge and just dabbing that on the edges of the bald cap. Go over it with a few layers, but if you feel like the latex starts to pull, chuck the sponge away and grab a new one and repeat the process. But honestly, I didn't use too much latex because I knew I was going to go in with foam clay over the top of the bald cap anyway. And yes, I used foam clay to create the forehead. I was going to spend a full day creating the forehead in advance, but no, I wanted to show the process of me making the forehead over my forehead. That way you can change the look of it if you're not happy with the shape. I've seen so many comments asking about what I used, and it's simply air dry foam clay. The specific brand I'm using will be listed in the description. But I also wanted to show how you can work with the foam clay. It's super easy, but I do know that air dry foam clay can look cracked and some people may find it hard to work with, but I got you fam, I got you. That's why I made this tutorial. So basically I'm taking large bits of foam clay, molding it onto my head first to get Pennywise's head shape, and then to blend the edges and the cracks, I'm using a spray bottle filled with water. So just spray some water onto the foam clay and blend, blend, blend. Don't push down too hard, but just blend lightly with your fingers. The spray bottle I'm using sprays like a mist, which I find is super helpful. So if you can find a mist spray bottle, I recommend to use that. Also, please tag me in your creations using this method. I would love to see it and support the post. And if you could kindly subscribe, like, and share, I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for the support. Next, I'm just dragging down the edges of the foam clay toward my brows to prepare for our next step. This is just going to help blend the use of our products seamlessly. This step helps get rid of the excess chunks of foam clay that we don't want. The goal here is to blend the foam clay as much as possible to make the forehead look realistic as possible. And if you're still not happy with the shape or you see unwanted cracks or dents, just apply more foam clay and use the spray bottle method and blend, blend, blend. Once you're happy with the overall shape, we can move on to our next step. Taking a little bit of prosaide on a Q-tip, I'm just mindfully applying it around my brows, being careful not to get the product in my brows. Only need a little bit of product for this. And then it's time to apply the SynWax or Scar Wax, whichever you prefer, but I used Mirror Makeup's SynWax. I'm digging out some SynWax, and what I like to do is once I've got the amount of SynWax I need dug out, I leave it in the container to sit, then I'll grab my Vaseline, use a little bit of it to coat my fingers, and then I'll go back in and grab my SynWax and start working with it. I do this to avoid the headache of SynWax or Scar Wax. If you know, you know. It can be super sticky and annoying to work with, but if you use those steps, you should be fine. Just make sure you have a makeup wipe on hand. Keep squishing and molding it until the wax is warm and ready to use. It should not have any hard parts in between the wax. It should now be workable to blend onto our skin. If parts of it feels hard, you need to keep working with it. Once I've got the desired amount of SynWax I need, I'm going to mold it into a thick worm, and then I'm putting that directly over my brow area where the edges of our foam clay is. Then with your warm fingers, start blending the SynWax onto your skin, making sure that your fingers are slightly coated with Vaseline. I like to use a makeup wipe to remove excess Vaseline off my fingers because I just find that easier to work with, but just make sure you have a little bit of Vaseline on your fingers to work with the Scar Wax. Now start blending the top of the SynWax onto the foam clay. You can use Vaseline to help blend the two together, and it actually blended so well. If you find the edges of the SynWax are too thick to blend onto the foam clay, just use a spatula or your fingernail to further assist the blending process. It's kind of removing the excess of the wax, and then just start blending again with the Vaseline. Now, if you wanted to do the full Pennywise head, like the back of your head, with your hair pinned down underneath the bald cap, you could just use the same process on the back of the head, I guess. I've never tried it, but that could work. I just hate pinning my hair down for a bald cap because I have long hair and I was lazy. Lazy, but then does the 7-hour Pennywise makeup look until 7 in the morning. Here, I'm just adding more SynWax to create more dimension around Pennywise's brows, or lack thereof. I'm using a clay sculpting tool to carve his brows. If you make a boo-boo, it's all good. You can just blend the wax again with your finger and start carving again. Using that same sculpting tool, I'm creating the illusion of cracks on the forehead, then taking some prosaide on a little sponge, dabbing it over the SynWax to coat, and then going over that with colorset powder from Mayron. A translucent powder should work fine. I'm using the Clown White Cream Makeup from Mayron Makeup. If you have their white cream blend stick, that would be amazing to use too, and I wish I had that, but this worked fine. I guess if you wanted the makeup to last longer and not have as much shine to it at the end of the night, I'd opt in for their white cream blend stick, but use whatever you have at home because I know a lot of these products can be pricey, especially if you're doing this look as a one-off. Then using a big powder puff with some colorset powder, I'm setting the makeup down. Now time for the fun part, pulling this look together. It's time to add some eyeshadow. I'm using a light grey eyeshadow, first all over the lid and then blending it around the eyes. Then going in with a dark black eyeshadow. Be sure to look at a reference photo of Pennywise, it will help you so much in this process. Time to add some colour. First I'm outlining the shape of his nose with a red lip pencil, and then I'm going in with Makeup Murder's Cause of Death liquid eyeshadow. This is such an awesome product. I use their liquid eyeshadows all the time, and they can also be used as lipsticks, which is so cool. If you're interested in their products, I have a discount code which I'll share on the screen for you now. You can get 10% off site-wide at the checkout. Affiliate link in the description. I wanted my lower lip to look bigger and have that V shape that he does, so I ended up overdrawing the bottom lip into a V shape to give it that effect. Now this is probably the most nerve-wracking of this entire look, is getting the details of the red smile lines he has, so I decided to make little dots to see where I needed to paint the lines. Then for the smile lines, I first made an outline to follow by drawing it on lightly with a red lip pencil, and then I went in with a red liquid eyeshadow. If you make a boo-boo, let the product set, then go over it with a white cream paint to clean up. I used a black eyeliner pencil to define the lips a little more, the bottom lip be looking plump AF. I added some black eyeliner to the waterline, and I wanted to add the smallest amount of shading. I just find it pulls the whole look together. Then adding a little bit of cracks with some black eyeshadow just to give it that illusion, tapping it out and just dirtying up the look. And I'm doing that by taking a little bit of black face paint and eyebrow brush. I have no idea what these ones are called, but they're great for flicking on fake blood and body paint. Adding a little bit of water to the brush and flicking the black paint onto the forehead. Then I'm tapping it out with an eyeshadow brush. Then I just added some more details like black and grey eyeshadow on different areas of the forehead, some more cracks. Now it's time to add the wig. I accidentally ordered 2 Pennywise wigs, but I'm so glad I did because in the end I needed them both. I decided to go with the second option for the main part of the hair. This one was a little bit more reddish orange, and let me tell you, this wig took 1.5 hours to style, guys. The wig would not work with me, but I was determined. I was not giving up. I found the most life-saving product that could possibly style any wig. They were like these Velcro hair thingies. I have no idea what they're called, but I'll link it in the description so you can check it out. But it's basically what helped me create the hair flicks that Pennywise has. But as you can see, I ended up cutting a section of my second wig and making the hair look longer since the first wig was too short. And added those Velcro thingies to the tails of his hair and it just worked. I'm so happy with this look and I'm beyond grateful for all of the support. I'm so glad you all love the look as well. Don't forget to tag me in your recreations using this tutorial and I'll share it on my socials. If you found this tutorial helpful in any way, please subscribe, like, and leave me a comment on which characters you want to see me transform into next. Until next time, I'll see you on my socials. Bye!